There is a divine law that governs wealth, and it is not the law of labor, nor the law of luck. It is the law of consciousness. Many toil endlessly, believing riches come from hours, sweat, and struggle, but wealth that endures, that multiplies, that pays forever, is born first in thought. The rich do not work for money. Money works for them because they have mastered the unseen realm where ideas become income, and belief becomes gold. The invisible mind precedes the visible fortune, and those who understand this principle never fear poverty again. Every fortune begins as a vibration, a frequency of abundance that attracts its own kind. The rich live in this frequency with unwavering certainty. They do not question whether prosperity belongs to them. They know it as law. When a person lives with a consciousness of endless supply, they stop chasing money and start commanding it. They align themselves with divine circulation, where every dollar spent returns multiplied. The poor man spends and subtracts, but the rich man gives and multiplies, because he knows he is plugged into an infinite source. You must understand that money does not reward effort alone, it rewards alignment. The world is filled with hardworking men and women who never prosper, because their thoughts contradict their labor. They say they want wealth, but live in fear of lack. They say they believe in opportunity, but secretly expect disappointment. The subconscious mind is the true manager of your fortune, and it pays out exactly what you expect. If you expect delay, you get delay. If you expect limitation, you get limitation. But if you expect constant inflow, you open the gates to perpetual supply. The rich have learned to plant thoughts that pay forever. Their assets are not only in banks but in ideas, in systems, in investments that multiply even in their sleep. But the true foundation of this wealth lies in their faith. Faith is the currency of the unseen. When they move with assurance that every venture will prosper, because they have spoken it, believed it, and acted upon it with gratitude before it appeared. That is the secret key, the inner conviction that precedes manifestation. There is a hidden law that says, whatever you appreciate, appreciates. The rich man appreciates his wealth, not with pride but with awareness of the law. He blesses his accounts, his clients, his investments, and by doing so, he increases their vibration. The poor man curses his bills and wonders why they grow larger. You cannot attract what you resent. You cannot invite what you fear. Money is a faithful servant, but it flees from doubt. If you desire to be paid forever, begin by blessing every penny that passes through your hands. The universe is a perfect accountant. Every act of generosity returns with interest. When you give from abundance, not from fear, you activate the divine law of circulation. The rich understand that holding too tightly blocks the flow. They give, invest, and share with confidence, knowing that the same stream that brought it once will bring it again and again. That is how they create perpetual income. Not by hoarding, but by circulating wealth under divine direction. Every mind is a magnet. You are constantly attracting either opportunity or obstruction, depending on your inner speech. If your thoughts are of endless supply, then the channels of abundance open through unexpected avenues. Ideas, people, timing, and inspiration. The rich expect these divine appointments. They are not surprised when doors open, they are expectant. The poor doubt before they receive and therefore delay their blessing. Expectation is faith in motion. Whatever you prepare for mentally, you prepare to receive materially. To be paid forever, one must shift from working for money to allowing money to work through them. Your gift, your service, your creative energy. These are divine instruments. When expressed with love and confidence, they generate wealth long after the work is done. The rich know this law that value once created continues to flow. A song sung once can earn for years. A book written once can bless for generations. A business established in wisdom can outlive its founder. The key is to work once in faith and let divine circulation continue the reward. Poverty is never about lack of opportunity, it is about lack of belief in divine supply. The universe holds infinite riches, and they belong to those who know how to claim them. To claim is to accept without doubt. Speak wealth, think wealth, act wealth. When the thought, the word, and the deed align, the law of compensation activates. The rich understand this triad. They do not waste energy on fear. They invest their attention in creation, their words in affirmation, and their emotions in gratitude. If you wish to receive payments that never cease, plant seeds that never die. Sow ideas that serve humanity, solutions that simplify, systems that sustain. Every good seed planted in the soil of faith multiplies without end. But guard your speech, for words are spiritual currency. To speak of debt, struggle, or lack is to invest in limitation. To speak of abundance, flow, and opportunity is to invest in perpetual increase. You are always funding your future with your words. The law does not favor one man over another. It favors the consciousness that aligns with it. Riches are not withheld. They are claimed. The moment you cease to say, "I cannot afford," and begin to declare, "I am supplied," the universe rearranges itself to match your vibration. You do not chase the blessing, you become it. You do not force wealth, you allow it. You do not beg for increase, you expect it as your divine inheritance. There are invisible accounts kept by divine law. Every thought of faith deposits, every fear withdraws. Those who are paid forever have learned to stay spiritually rich, to keep their inner account overflowing. They meditate on increase, gratitude, and purpose until their outer life reflects their inner balance. They live from within out, not from without in. Their wealth is a reflection of harmony with the law of compensation. The key is not to work harder but to work higher, to elevate your consciousness until money becomes your messenger. Then every idea, every connection, every inspired move carries reward. You become a channel for divine supply, and through you wealth circulates endlessly. The same law that keeps the rich paid forever is waiting to serve you, but it responds only to faith, gratitude, and alignment. The moment you understand that your supply is spiritual, not physical, you step into the flow that never stops. The rich understand that money is not something to be chased, but something to be aligned with. They operate under a higher law, the law of circulation. In this divine rhythm, money flows like a river, constant and renewing. Those who hoard interrupt the stream. Those who circulate it wisely become the very channel through which wealth continues to move. They do not serve money. They allow money to serve them. Their work, investments, and ideas are not rooted in fear of lack, but in faith in unlimited supply. They know that the same source that sent wealth once will send it again in greater measure, when handled in accordance with divine law. This awareness shifts their energy from anxious striving to calm expectancy. And this expectancy magnetizes more abundance toward them. They have mastered the truth that energy must move to grow. The law of circulation says that whatever you release in faith returns multiplied. The rich give freely, not because they are careless, but because they understand the divine arithmetic of increase. When they spend, they bless. When they invest, they speak increase over their money. When they donate, they do it with joy, not guilt. Every act is an affirmation that they live in an abundant universe. Their wealth continues to multiply because it is not stagnant. It is in motion. The poor often make the mistake of clutching money tightly, fearing it will run away, but the very act of fear repels the flow. To attract, one must trust. To receive endlessly, one must release confidently. The hands that give with faith are never empty. The rich have learned that wealth is energy, and energy follows belief. They approach their finances as an expression of consciousness, not circumstance. They understand that if they hold the vibration of abundance, money becomes their faithful servant, obedient to their inner conviction. When they act with assurance. When they invest, they trust their inspired guidance. When they encounter loss, they bless it, knowing it clears the way for greater inflow. This calm and confident relationship with money keeps the circulation alive. The energy they send out returns through unseen channels, often multiplied beyond calculation. They see themselves not as owners but as stewards of divine supply, and through that stewardship, they are continuously rewarded. To align with divine circulation, one must first remove all fear of loss. Fear closes the gate to prosperity. It makes the river of abundance freeze. The rich know that money must move as breath moves in the lungs. In and out, effortlessly. When it is inhaled with gratitude and exhaled with faith, the rhythm sustains itself. But when one holds it too tightly, suffocation begins. True prosperity is rhythmic, alive, in harmony with giving and receiving. Those who align with this rhythm understand that what leaves their life is never gone. It is simply moving through the cycle of return. Every outflow is an inflow in disguise. Every act of generosity sets up a new avenue for increase. Those who give with resentment or fear block this divine symmetry, while those who give with joy become magnets for miracles. The rich live by spiritual principles even if they never name them as such. They know that thoughts are things, and emotions are magnets. When they bless their income, they raise its vibration. When they speak gratitude over their work, clients, and ventures, they multiply their unseen assets. Their wealth consciousness creates opportunities without strain. New ideas, inspired partnerships, and favorable timing appear as natural consequences of their inner state. They have trained their minds to see money as a loyal friend, not a fickle stranger. In return, money obeys their mental command, showing up when needed, growing while they rest, and multiplying in ways that seem effortless. They understand that to align with divine circulation is to step into the universal law that governs all growth. The more faith you express, the more abundance expresses through you. To be part of divine circulation, one must become emotionally detached from money. This does not mean indifference but mastery. The rich feel gratitude for wealth, but are not enslaved by it. They use it as a tool, not an identity. Their confidence does not come from what they possess, but from knowing they are connected to the source of all supply. That awareness gives them peace in the midst of uncertainty. They can give without fear and invest without anxiety, because they know they are part of an endless system of return. Their calm expectation keeps the flow uninterrupted. When others panic, they stay centered. When markets fall, they rise in faith. This unshakable inner peace is the secret key to unending prosperity. The universe rewards circulation because it mirrors the divine nature of life itself. Every tree gives its fruit freely and is fed again by the earth. Every ocean gives its vapor to the sky and receives rain in return. The same law governs wealth. Those who mimic the generosity of nature are replenished continuously. The rich act from this principle, whether consciously or intuitively. They know that when they give value, through service, wisdom, or creativity, they set divine compensation in motion. That compensation may come as money, opportunity, or influence, but it always returns. The rich never worry about how or when because they have mastered the faith of expectancy. They plant the seed and let the law handle the harvest. The poor, on the other hand, dig up their seed daily to see if it has grown, and by doing so, delay its increase. When one aligns with divine circulation, they begin to live in a state of flow where opportunities seem to appear effortlessly. The right people come at the right time, and money begins to arrive through multiple streams. It is not chance but law. The rich understand that they do not chase the stream. They become the stream. They keep their energy high, their thoughts prosperous, and their words creative. They know that to speak lack is to invite it, but to affirm abundance is to expand it. Their language reflects ownership of divine truth. I always have enough. My supply is endless. Money comes easily and continuously. These affirmations are not empty words. They are declarations that align the subconscious with infinite provision. Once the mind believes it, the outer world must obey. To let money work through you is to live in trust with the unseen. The rich act as channels, not containers. They let inspiration guide their moves, knowing that divine intelligence never fails. Their investments are often guided by intuition that defies logic, yet produces miraculous results. They sense timing, they feel direction, and they follow promptings that lead to greater circulation. Their wealth is not just the outcome of skill but of spiritual attunement. They trust the law that says, as you give, so shall you receive. Every financial decision is an expression of that trust. They know that divine circulation does not rely on economic conditions but on consciousness. Their wealth grows in recessions as easily as in booms, because it is governed by inner law, not outer market. To be in alignment with divine circulation, one must learn to let go of control and replace it with cooperation with higher law. The ego says, I must make this happen. The spirit says, it is already happening through me. The rich operate from the latter. They know that supply does not come from people or systems but through them. They view every paycheck, every profit, every return as a reflection of divine order, not human favor. This detachment gives them serenity. They are not bound by circumstances because their source is invisible and inexhaustible. They flow with life instead of resisting it, and life, in return, flows back with generosity. The moment you cease to chase money and begin to channel it, you enter the same current that keeps the rich paid forever. Wealth that lasts is not born from labor or luck but from consciousness. The outer world is only a mirror of the inner world, and those who master the unseen laws of mind become masters of money. The rich understand that all creation begins in thought, and that money is simply condensed energy responding to belief. The poor may work endlessly, striving and struggling, but if their minds are filled with fear, resentment, and disbelief, their labor bears little fruit. The rich, however, work first in the invisible. They see abundance in their imagination, feel it in their emotions, and live as if it already exists. This faith molds circumstances, attracts opportunity, and magnetizes prosperity in visible form. They do not wait for conditions to be perfect. They create the conditions by aligning their thoughts with divine supply. Every man and woman is surrounded by a field of energy that reflects their dominant beliefs. If one believes in limitation, that field contracts and repels opportunity. If one believes in endless supply, that field expands and attracts more of its kind. The rich cultivate a consciousness of plenty. They rise each morning knowing that the universe is generous, that money flows easily, and that their needs are already met. This awareness directs their actions, words, and attitudes, creating a magnetic vibration that draws wealth naturally. The poor often think they can change their circumstances without changing their thinking. But the law of consciousness cannot be fooled. You cannot receive what you secretly reject, and you cannot hold what you fear losing. The rich have removed fear from their relationship with money, and in doing so, they have allowed it to multiply effortlessly. The mind is the workshop of destiny. Thoughts are the architects of fortune. The rich understand that every idea held with faith is a seed, and when planted in the soil of gratitude, it must produce after its kind. They nurture their ideas like living things. They speak to them with confidence and act upon them with expectancy. Their wealth is not an accident. It is a deliberate harvest of mental cultivation. They think riches before they appear. They feel success before it manifests. And they speak increase before it is seen. The poor often think of money only when it is gone. The rich think of money as ever-present energy. This difference in consciousness separates struggle from abundance. The outer form of wealth changes, but the inner knowing remains constant. And it is that knowing that keeps the rich forever supplied. Consciousness creates conditions. When a person believes in scarcity, their actions mirror that belief. They hesitate, they hoard, they doubt, they underprice themselves. The vibration of lack sends a signal to the universe that says, "I am not ready for more." But when a person believes in abundance, their actions are bold, generous, and inspired. They take risks guided by faith. They invest with wisdom, and they give with joy. The rich act as if wealth is natural because they know it is. Their consciousness is tuned to success, so success responds. It is not the labor that makes them rich, but the mental image behind the labor. Two people may perform the same task, one with fear of loss, the other with confidence of gain, and their results will differ greatly because consciousness, not effort, determines outcome. The rich maintain a mental atmosphere that attracts prosperity continuously. They do not allow worry or negativity to pollute their inner world. When thoughts of doubt arise, they replace them with affirmations of truth. They remind themselves that supply is spiritual and that divine intelligence provides through endless channels. They know that one closed door means another is opening. This unwavering faith gives them peace in uncertainty. The poor, on the other hand, allow fear to dominate their inner dialogue, and fear blocks the flow. Wealth consciousness is not a temporary thought, but a permanent state of being, cultivated daily through gratitude, affirmation, and disciplined imagination. It is a choice to believe in plenty even when appearances suggest otherwise. The rich think of money as a current of divine energy flowing through life. They understand that this current must be kept pure by right thought and right intention. They bless their money, their transactions, and their exchanges. They see wealth as service, a means to create, build, and bless others. Their focus is never on hoarding but on circulating, never on scarcity but on expansion. This generous mindset keeps their channels open. The poor often view money as something separate from the divine, something difficult, or even unholy. This mistaken belief creates guilt, and guilt repels wealth. The rich, however, honor money as part of divine expression, a symbol of energy well directed. They do not worship it, but they respect it, and through that respect, it respects them in return. True wealth consciousness comes from unity with divine intelligence. When a person knows that they are one with infinite supply, they lose all sense of struggle. Ideas flow easily, opportunities appear without force, and right actions seem guided by unseen wisdom. This connection turns work into joy, effort into ease, and vision into manifestation. The rich rely on this inner partnership. They do not depend solely on logic or circumstance. They depend on inspiration. Inspiration is the language of divine supply, and it always leads to abundance. The poor often ignore intuition, chasing opportunity through desperation rather than direction. The rich listen inwardly, trust what they hear, and act with certainty. That certainty is the vibration that attracts perpetual success. The consciousness of wealth is also the consciousness of gratitude. Gratitude is the magnet of miracles. The rich give thanks before receiving, knowing that thanksgiving is acknowledgement of divine order. When they receive, they multiply it with appreciation. When they lose, they still bless the process, for they understand that the same law that gave once will give again. Their gratitude keeps them open to the next blessing. The poor often complain, unknowingly shutting the door to increase. Complaint is a declaration of lack, while gratitude is a declaration of abundance. The rich choose to speak abundance with every word, and through those words, they program their subconscious mind to expect more. Whatever you consistently thank the universe for, you expand, to create lasting wealth through consciousness. One must also master the imagination. Imagination is the preview of life's coming attractions. The rich use it not to escape reality, but to design it. They visualize wealth with clarity and emotion, holding the picture steady until it takes form. They know that what the mind sees with faith must appear in time. The poor often imagine only their fears and obstacles, and so their life repeats them. The mind cannot distinguish between real and vividly imagined experience. Therefore, the rich imagine only what they desire. They see abundance, luxury, freedom, and service, and these images become their reality. The unseen always precedes the seen, and the mind that pictures wealth consistently becomes its physical equivalent. The power that creates money is the same power that creates life. The power of thought directed by belief. The rich use this creative power consciously, while the poor use it unconsciously. Every thought is a command, every emotion a magnet, every belief a blueprint. The universe fulfills the patterns we impress upon it without question or delay. The rich impress patterns of success, faith, and expectancy, while the poor impress patterns of fear, doubt, and frustration. To shift from lack to wealth, one must reprogram the inner pattern. It is not the outer work that changes destiny, but the inner assumption that one is already prosperous. Once that assumption is held firmly, circumstances must rearrange to match it. Wealth becomes inevitable when consciousness aligns with the truth of infinite supply. The mind is the true marketplace, and those who sell faith buy fortune. The rich transact daily in ideas, affirmations, and beliefs of plenty. They invest their attention wisely, focusing only on possibilities, never limitations. They know that every moment spent in fear is a withdrawal from their account of abundance. The poor waste energy worrying, while the rich spend energy creating. It is this inner economy that determines the outer one. Wealth is the reflection of sustained, disciplined, and joyful thinking. The one who trains the mind to think rich thoughts regardless of external appearances steps into the same rhythm of prosperity that never ends. For the outer world must always obey the inner law of consciousness. Perpetual income is not a matter of chance or circumstance. It is the outworking of faith, gratitude, and the divine law of compensation. The universe is exact, never withholding what has been rightly earned by vibration and consciousness. Faith is the seed, gratitude is the water, and divine compensation is the harvest that never stops. Those who live in the vibration of faith and gratitude are never out of supply. For they have tuned themselves to the rhythm of increase. They understand that every act of faith opens a door, and every expression of gratitude keeps that door open. The law of compensation ensures that no good deed, no service rendered, no love given is ever lost. It circulates unseen and returns multiplied. The rich live by this law, consciously or unconsciously, and that is why they are paid forever. Faith is the spiritual currency that purchases all things unseen. It is not hope, for hope wavers and waits, faith knows and expects. The rich have mastered the art of knowing before seeing. When they invest, they do not question. When they give, they do not fear loss. When they plan, they do not doubt their outcome. Their conviction creates conditions. Faith moves the invisible substance of the universe into form. The poor often seek proof before believing, but the law works in reverse. You must believe first, and then the proof appears. Faith is creative energy, and every man is as rich as his faith allows. The rich maintain it not through effort but through alignment, by keeping their minds filled with visions of success and their words charged with power. Their quiet certainty becomes magnetic, circumstances rearrange, opportunities appear, and doors open in response to that vibration. Gratitude is the companion of faith. It multiplies what it touches. When a person gives thanks for what they have, they prepare the way for more. Gratitude is the language of abundance. It tells the universe, I recognize the good, therefore I am ready for greater good. The rich cultivate gratitude as a daily habit. They give thanks not only for visible wealth, but for the invisible supply always flowing toward them. They bless their business, their clients, their investments, their ideas, their homes. Every blessing becomes a magnet of multiplication. The poor, however, dwell in complaint and resentment. They curse their lack, and by doing so, they multiply it. Gratitude turns the smallest possession into a seed of greater prosperity, while complaint turns abundance into dust. The rich understand that wealth is not measured by what one holds, but by what one appreciates. Through gratitude, they keep divine circulation alive, ensuring that the flow never stops. The law of divine compensation is precise. It balances, rewards, and restores according to the quality of thought and action. Whatever you send out returns to you multiplied, for the universe does not forget any vibration. Those who give with love, faith, and joy receive in the same spirit, often from unexpected directions. The rich understand that giving and receiving are one act in two directions. To withhold out of fear is to block one's own inflow. To give in faith is to activate divine repayment. The law of compensation never sleeps, it adjusts every imbalance in due time. Those who live in harmony with it do not need to chase rewards. They attract them effortlessly. Every generous act, every sincere service, every inspired idea carries its own return stamped with divine timing. The rich trust this unseen law completely, which is why their wealth appears to renew itself endlessly. Faith gives birth to divine ideas, gratitude sustains their growth, and the law of compensation ensures their harvest. The rich live in this trinity of abundance. They know that one divine idea, acted upon in faith, can produce income for generations. They are guided not by greed but by inner guidance that whispers where to sow, when to wait, and when to reap. Because they trust this inner voice, their ventures succeed beyond logic. The poor rely only on the visible. The rich rely on both the visible and the invisible. Their faith allows them to see opportunities others miss. Their gratitude draws support from every direction, and the law rewards them according to their vibration. This is why they seem to attract success effortlessly. It is not effort but alignment to be paid forever. One must act with faith even when appearances suggest loss. The rich never mourn temporary setbacks, they bless them as corrections in divine order. They know that every delay conceals a larger return. The poor see endings, the rich see transitions. This perspective keeps their energy pure and open to compensation. When others panic, they remain calm, knowing that what is theirs by right of consciousness can never be taken away. The universe always balances accounts. Faith declares ownership, gratitude confirms receipt, and the law ensures delivery. When these three are united, perpetual increase is inevitable. Gratitude is also the healer of fear. Where gratitude lives, fear cannot. The rich fill their hearts with appreciation until fear dissolves. They look at bills and bless them for the proof of circulation. They look at taxes and bless them for the evidence of income. They look at challenges and bless them for the growth they bring. Gratitude transforms perception, and perception shapes reality. The poor resist what they dislike, but resistance is a form of attention, and attention is creation. The rich bless everything, for blessing aligns them with divine harmony. In that harmony, supply moves freely and continually. This is how gratitude becomes a tool for perpetual income. It turns every experience into a gateway for more. The law of compensation is impersonal and unfailing. It does not reward emotion but vibration. It answers not to words alone but to the belief behind them. The rich maintain a steady vibration of faith and gratitude, so their results are steady. The poor move between faith and fear, gratitude and resentment, and their results reflect that inconsistency. The law mirrors the inner state perfectly. To live richly, one must make inner richness permanent. This means holding faith when others doubt, giving thanks when others complain, and trusting the unseen when others panic. Every act of steadfast belief creates a deposit in the invisible account of abundance, and every act of gratitude compounds its interest. Over time, that account pays dividends in the form of money, ideas, health, and peace. Faith and gratitude together form an atmosphere that attracts divine compensation automatically. They are the invisible tools of the spiritually wealthy. The rich understand that they do not work for money, they work with the law. They are not servants of wealth, but partners with divine supply. Their faith commands. Their gratitude invites, and the law delivers. They trust the process so deeply that they never need to force results. Their calmness becomes their currency. The more they relax into faith, the faster things manifest. The poor exhaust themselves in effort, thinking action alone brings reward. But action without faith is labor without power. True productivity begins in belief. When faith and gratitude govern thought, every action becomes divinely guided, every step fruitful, every idea profitable. The rhythm of perpetual wealth is simple yet profound: believe, bless, and receive. Faith opens the channel, gratitude widens it, and the law of compensation fills it. The rich keep this rhythm alive in all they do. They think wealth, speak abundance, and act with confidence. They refuse to entertain doubt, for doubt is spiritual poverty. They refuse to complain, for complaint is spiritual debt. They cultivate faith until it becomes nature, gratitude until it becomes instinct, and trust until it becomes certainty. This certainty is their foundation. It keeps them grounded in prosperity regardless of the outer season. The law of compensation follows certainty like shadow follows light. Where faith leads, results appear. Where gratitude abides, increase multiplies. Where divine order is trusted, payment never ceases. The universe has no favorites, it only mirrors consciousness. To those who think lack, it returns lack. To those who feel abundance, it returns abundance. The rich have chosen the vibration of continuous supply. They know that faith is the invisible investment that pays endless returns. Gratitude is the energy that compounds interest, and divine compensation is the eternal system ensuring nothing good is ever lost. The one who understands and applies these laws becomes free from financial fear forever, for they have stepped into the flow that never runs dry, the stream of perpetual provision sustained by the harmony of faith, gratitude, and divine compensation.